Hey guys, my name is Elijah and today I would like to show you how to run a virtual machine or a virtual server on Azure platform. Now, the first thing you need to know about Azure is that it lets you to run any server you want. You can run a Windows server or a Linux or Ubuntu server. And those servers, when you run a server, you can also deploy any application you want. You can deploy a gaming server, or you can deploy a web hosting server like Apache or Nginx. You can also deploy a virtual private network or a VPN server. So there are so many things that you can use to deploy anything or any application in Azure platform. Now, the first thing you need to know, if you want to run a VPS server or a virtual server on Azure, is that you need a Microsoft account. If you don't have a Microsoft account, you can create it. You can create a Microsoft account by either signing up for an Outlook account, or you can also use your Gmail or Yahoo or any other mail services to sign up for Microsoft account. Now, the other way, after signing up for a Microsoft account, that account is what you use to sign in into your Azure platform. It's also important to know that to activate your Azure account for free credit, because they give out free $200 credit, you must be able to integrate it with your debit card or credit card, so they will activate your free $200 credit and start using it. Now that you've signed up for Azure account, this is the dashboard you're going to see. You can see that the dashboard has some of the Azure services you can manipulate or you can use to deploy your application depending on the needs you have. Now, in this video, I would like to show you how to just create a virtual machine with Ubuntu operating system. Now, what you do is to click on virtual machines, and then you click virtual machine here, because what you want is just to fire up a virtual machine with Ubuntu operating system installed. Now that we have reached the first step of creating a virtual machine on Azure, is you have to look at the subscription. Right now I'm using Azure Subscription, which is free, since I just created this account and they've given me free $200 credit. Even you yourself, when you create a new account, they will be able to give you the free $200 credit that you can use the way you find fit. Now, if you have a premium subscription or any subscription plan you have, they will be listed down here. But since I'm using Azure free credit, I'm just going to go with my subscription that they gave me. And another thing is that here they are going, this is called a resource group. This contains all your resources that you create. The resources, the virtual machines, are going to be bound within this resource group. You can as well create a new one, but for now, since you are starting, you can just leave it as a default, because there is already a resource group that has been created for you. Now, the next step is to name your virtual machine. So you can give your virtual machine a name. And if you click here, or you hover here, your cursor, it will give you the details of what it means. So they are saying virtual machines in Azure have two distinctive names: virtual machine name used as Azure Resource Identifier, and in guest host name. When you create a VM in the portal, the same name is used for both the virtual machine name and host name. The virtual machine name cannot be changed after the VM is created. We can change the host name when you log into the virtual machine. So basically, is the name you're going to put here is also going to work as a host name that you can use to access your virtual machine. So however, they're also saying that once you name your virtual machine, you cannot change it after it has been created. You can only change the host name, but you cannot change the virtual machine name that you already created. Now, for now, I'm going to call my virtual machine as tutorial. You can call it anything you want. Make sure there is no space or characters within the name. For example, you cannot use a character like asterisk. You cannot use it. You cannot. Don't put any character. Just type a single word, and that is all. The region. So which region do you want to host your VM? Choose the Azure region that is right for you and your customers. Not all VM sizes are viable in all regions. So there are different regions. Azure has different data centers that are spread all over the world. So here they have selected for me US East, free services irrigable. Since this pricing plan covers this, I'm going to just leave it. You can as well select any other region depending on your preference and convenience, of course. Availability options, you can just leave it that. Security type, you can leave it by default. Image. Now image, this one is where you select the operating system you want. Which kind of operating system do you want to install on your virtual machine? You can install Ubuntu. So there is Ubuntu Server 20.04. That is the latest. You can select CentOS. You can select Debian 11, Red Hat Enterprise. You can also choose Windows Server, and so many other operating systems are here. So remember, some operating systems are premium, so you have to pay. Sometimes the costs are high, so they will charge you depending on the type of operating system you choose to run on your virtual machine. But since Ubuntu is free and you're saying free services are irrevocable, I'm going to go with Ubuntu, the latest version. And here is the size. What is the size of your virtual machine? The number of virtual CPU cores, and the GB memory. So what you call memory and CPU cores. Remember, the more the bigger the size of the VM, the more money they are going to charge you. As you can see under the drop down, you can see that there is the first instance is 2 virtual CPUs or virtual CPU cores and 8 GB memory that is priced at $70 per month. There is also 4 virtual CPU cores with 16 GB memory at $140.16 per month. So you can choose probably the first one. I can choose anything because I'm on a free plan. But if probably your business requirements don't need you to choose the bigger machine, you don't have to choose anything you want. You have to first calculate your business needs and what you really need to do. So I'm going to select the 4 vCPUs and 16 GB memory. Now, administrative account. The administrative account, there are 2 different ways of signing in into your VM. You can use the SSH public key and the password. For now, I'm gonna use the password method of logging into my virtual machine. Of course, after setting up your virtual machine, you have to log in remotely using SSH. So I'm gonna use the password method. The difference between the public key and the password is that the public key, here you create a key that you use to log in using SSH, but the password method is that you just use the name of your machine and the password, and then you log in using the SSH. Now the username, I'm gonna use the username as Elijah, and also create a password for that username. Always use long passwords. I'm using these ones as it is also saying the volume must be between 12 and 72 characters. Wow. So probably I should use longer passwords because that's what they want. Oh. Okay, so now the password is accepted. We have the username as Elijah and the password. Now this is the password we're gonna use, and then you have inbound public rules. So these are the rules that allow important rules that allow things like SSH to work. So we probably we need these public inbound rules. We need to allow the port 22 to function. Port 22 is where what allows us to access remotely our server using SSH. So we have to leave it open to access it. If you're running an enterprise application on the server, maybe at some point you have to close this port, and then maybe, I don't know, but you need to allow this to be able to access your server at some point. Now the next step is to you can go to the next step. The next step is OS type. You can leave it as by default. You can choose premium SSD. You can use standard HDD. For now, let me use premium SSD. Encryption type, you can just leave this by default. Encryption type, just leave it by default. And then you can go to the next step, networking. This is a virtual network that assigns you the IP address to your machine and the subnet. So by default, Azure platform can allocate you a virtual network, and you don't have to create a new one unless if you know what you're doing. But if you're a new beginner, for now you can just go with the default settings. But for advanced users, you can also create your own VPC virtual network that was and also get subnets in the public IP, because you need that. What else? Public inbound ports, we've allowed port 2022 for SSH. You can proceed. I think everything is set. Most of the basic stuff are set. All these ones, you just have to leave them the way they are. You don't have to tamper with anything here. So when you proceed and check, there's nothing much to change here. You just have to continue the tags. You don't have to put in tags at the moment, unless if you know what you're doing. Preview and create. So you're going to preview You're going to preview everything according to here. So this is the preview of the machine. You're saying they're going to charge you $0.1920 per hour. So this machine, they're going to charge you per hour as it runs. The more hours it runs, the more money you're going to pay. Okay, they are demanding phone number here. Okay, let me put your phone number. Okay. They want me to put a phone number here, so I'm not gonna put a phone number at the moment because I don't want you to see my phone number. I will just put that. The next step is to create. So you can create your virtual machine. So when you create your virtual machine, you wait for it to provision. You just have to be patient. It may take a couple of minutes, but you have to be patient as the machine provisions. Okay, it is telling me it has created a resource group, it has created an IP address. Okay, the deployment is still in progress, so we have to be patient as it provisions. We have to be patient as it's continuing to provision. Okay, so they're saying your deployment is complete, and you can just click go to resource, and on the resource there is something that I want to show you on the resource dashboard. On the resource dashboard, you realize that the status of the machine is running. The location is in East US, and the subscription is Azure Subscription, a free one. If you have another subscription plan and on which the VM is deployed, it's gonna showcase around here. It's going to be seen here. And then the operating system is Linux or Linux Ubuntu. 20.04. The size is 4 virtual CPUs and 16 GB memory. And so there's something that is very important I want to show you. So the virtual machine has a public IP address. This public IP address is what we use to connect to the machine remotely. So what we are gonna do is to copy. We're going to copy that public IP address, and then open our SSH client. I've already SSH configured on my machine, and I'm using Tabby. It's a very interesting SSH client. I always use on my projects. So what I'm gonna do is to set up my SSH. I wanna set up the SSH connection to the server. Okay, maybe let me create here. Okay, what is happening? I need to create a new connection. Okay, let me first cancel this. Okay, maybe I should do new terminal. Okay. Okay. I need to create a new SSH connection. Add the connection. Let me call this one Azure VM. I'm going to use my username, the one I used while creating the virtual machine. I'm going to use the password and set the password that I used. It was quite long. Okay, save, and let me connect and see whether it's going to connect. Oh, it looks like, I didn't put, sorry, I didn't put the host. The host is the public IP address of the machine. Let's try to connect once more. Let me try to save. What is happening here? Okay, let me try to use CMD. Let me try to use CMD and see what is happening here. But anyway, yeah. SSH Elijah, the username and the password and the IP address that we are supposed to connect it to. Here, yes, type yes, and then I need to put the password for the machine. Okay, so as you can see, we've already logged into the server. It's Elijah tutorial. You can also you can update sudo apt get update. You can see it is updating, so it is basically downloading the update on your machine. The updates are done. You can do anything on your server. You can check, you can also upgrade sudo apt get update. You can say sudo apt upgrade sudo apt upgrade. You can type yes and the system will just keep updating. That is all. That is what you need to deploy a virtual machine on Azure without taking so long. I'm so sorry for the length of this tutorial. I just wanted it to be under 15 minutes, but bear with me. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please subscribe.